Hi, this is Dr. James Hutcherson, and I'll be teaching your Bio 168 Anatomy and Physiology class this semester. I'm going to go through the syllabus just briefly, and then I'm going to show you the Moodle course, talk to you a little bit about that. And if you have any questions after this, please feel free to contact me at any point. There is actually a link on the Moodle site, and I'll show you that where you can ask questions. So let's go ahead and start going through the syllabus first. Just take a few minutes to go through that. Alrighty. Very first thing, although this will affect you if you don't take the census quiz. The census quiz is due on the 21st. But more than likely, since you're watching this, you're probably going to take it. But once you take the census quiz, you'll be able to see the rest of the course. You won't be able to see the rest of the course in Moodle until that point. Okay, here's some information about me. Here's my email address, and you can email me at any point. And I'm usually pretty good at getting back at least within 24 hours, but usually less than 8 hours. Okay, office hours, they are on an as-needed basis. So just let me know, and we can meet through the Collaborate link that's on our site that says office hours, and I'll show you that when we look at the Moodle course here in a minute. Okay, Anatomy and Physiology 1 covers basic cell biology and a little bit of biochemistry, and then we work our way up to body organization, homeostasis, cytology, which is cell biology, histology, and then we get into the systems, integumentary, skeletal, muscular, nervous system, and the special senses. When you take Bio 169, the second part, you'll start with the endocrine system, and you'll cover the rest of the systems. Okay, the textbook we are using is Fundamentals of Anatomy and Physiology. This is by Martini, Nath, and we're using the 12th edition. Yeah, I'm not going to go through every little thing on the syllabus, but this tells you what the basic student learning outcomes are for the class, which I basically described in the original description. Okay, I'm just going to hit a few key points here. Academic honesty. You are to use your own knowledge in doing at least exams. When you're doing discussion forums and some of the other work like labs, you are welcome to use whatever resource you would like. If you do use information that's AI generated, you need to let me know that. So avoid plagiarism. I do have some links on here to help you in case for some reason the password doesn't work anymore, and I know that happens with all of us. So you might want to print this document out. Okay, services for students with disabilities. If you need certain accommodations based on a disability, make sure you get that recorded, and the Disability Services Office will let me know. Okay, Bladen provides academic support and tutoring services, so I would take advantage of this if I were you. It is a free service, and if you're going to make use of it, you should start using it as soon as possible, and they will help you when it comes to studying for exams. Okay, different student support services are found here, and again, we have QR codes to help with that to get you to those particular contacts very quickly. Okay, when it comes to inclement weather, we won't have to worry about that quite as much since we're online, but occasionally something does happen, and I will certainly make accommodations for that. Remember that the last date which you can drop this course with the W so that you don't actually have a grade will be May the 11th. And then here's a calendar for the spring of 2026, some dates that might be important to you, especially if you're taking other courses. We will have a spring break, March 9th through the 13th, and that is shown on the schedule at the bottom of this syllabus. Okay, we are on a 10-point scale, And our grade distribution is as follows. Lecture exams count as 50%. Chapter assessments each week, 5%. Discussion forums each week, 5%. And then laboratories, 30%, which is composed of lab assessments, so 15%. That's doing the actual labs and answering questions. You will be using a Carolina Science Lab kit. That's something you should order. Hopefully you've already ordered it. And there's an online component where you answer questions and then you submit to me. And quite often you'll send me pictures of the work that you're doing. Okay. There will be a midterm and final lab exam, and that will be a total of 15% for the lab. And then there's a comprehensive final exam for lecture at 10%. Okay, online attendance. I do take attendance each week. If you miss more than 20% of the class, well, actually, Bladen says 10, but I often give a little bit more leniency. I can withdraw you immediately. Okay, but do let me know if you're missing for a particular reason, and we can see what we can do about that to help you. Okay, you must complete the enrollment verification quiz. You won't be able to see any of the other modules in the course here, the Moodle course, until you finish that little quiz. And it's basically just a statement that you agree with. Okay, here's some general policies. Again, there's the policy that has to do with missing courses or absences. So you can read that. Okay, and then we get down here to the topical outline, the actual schedule. If I were you, I would print this part out or at least save it somewhere separately so that you are always aware of what is due each week. Although I will every week send out an announcement telling you what you'll be doing well, at least what's due on those days. And generally, they're going to be due just that one day out of week. And I'll show you that on Moodle here in a minute. Okay, and right now, I think we've got everything due on, Fridays, sorry. So as you can see, January 9th through 16th, you cover Chapter 2. You'll do an introduce yourself. You'll do Chapter 2 assessment. You'll do the discussion forum, and I'll talk about that in a minute. Go ahead and get your lab kit and register, and then you'll do a basic laboratory assignment through the links, and I provide these links to you. You should be able to get into those links once you have registered your kit. And then let's look at Module 2, January 17th through the 23rd. Chapter 3, Cellular Levels of Organization. Assignments will be Chapter 3 Assessment, 3A Discussion Forum, and then again a laboratory assignment. And your first exam you'll have on January 26th, and that will be a Monday. So I usually give you the weekend to study after work is due, and then you'll take that exam. And when you take the exam, it is closed book. You actually will be kind of roped into having not being able to get to other websites while you're taking the exam. So it kind of locks you in with the JavaScript. Okay, and from that point on, we just keep covering the different chapters, as you can see. Pretty much the same thing each week, so it shouldn't be any big surprises to you. Okay, I do want you to see that there is a spring break, March 9th through 13th, worked in here. Okay, there's also a midterm lab exam, which will be on March 17th, and that'll be a day after exam 3, and that will be on a Tuesday. And again, from that point on, everything's pretty much the same to the end, and you'll finally have the final lab and the final lecture exam. And that will be due by 5 p.m., May 11th. Keep that in mind, by 5 p.m. All right, let's all right. So there's an intro section. There's some information there that tells you my contact information. Okay, then there's my introduction. Obviously, you're watching it right now, but do go through the course syllabus more specifically than I just did. You'll want to read every part of it. Again, here are the course materials listed. Okay, and you'll be doing that through your bookstore, and there's a bookstore link. Okay, I provide a lab guide. This is just a guide to help you prepare for the midterm and final lab exams. It's just got some good information in it. So you might want to print that out and keep to the side and look at that every once in a while, each time you go through a different lab. There is free online tutoring with Bladen, Upswing Online Tutoring. Do take advantage of that. And then there are online live sessions as needed if you ask me for something or you want to meet with me in an office hour, and we can work out whatever time and day that you want, even on the weekends, okay? If you have general questions you think the whole class needs to know, you can go into this Ask Dr. H and post your questions, and I'll get back on that within 24 hours usually. Then you must do the enrollment verification quiz. You won't be able to see any other modules till you complete that assignment. Okay, and here's what each of the modules looks like. So module 1 is chapter 2. We will get to chapter 1 later on, by the way. We start with the kind of levels of organization, and then we come back to basic vocabulary and naming parts and regions and using anatomical verbiage. So we just felt like that chapter worked better at the point before we get into real systems. Okay, in each chapter there are learning objectives that go along with the textbook. This is a good place to study in for the exam, so you might want to write these out for yourself. And then each module has the instructions. It tells you what to read. It tells you to watch any animations, do the lab, discussion forum, chapter assessment, and complete certain lab assignments. As you can see, we have lots of resources here for the reading and viewing. There's always going to be some PowerPoints and a live presentation by me, or it was live, recorded, of course, for you. And then it tells you what to do for laboratory here. Sometimes I'll have some information that will help you with the lab, and then you will have an actual link to go into the lab at Carolina Science, where you will actually complete the labs. They do provide a document at Carolina Science site that you will save and fill in and print out, and that's what you will be submitting to me. Okay, they do have a little quiz in there that you have to do before that, and I do look at that quiz. And if you do that quiz, you'll get 100 on that quiz part, but that is a part of the lab, that your lab grade anyway. Okay, sometimes I provide some supplemental videos that you want to watch. And then you get to the lecture assignments, a forum, an assessment generally. So let's look at what one of the forums would look like, because there are some specific rules you need to follow with that. Okay, like in this case. So you read my post and respond appropriately. You'll then need to respond to one other person. You'll not be able to see other posts or respond to others for 15 to 30 minutes after your initial post. And your initial post should be thorough and contain at least 150 words, and then provide a full reference or link, and that's important to get full credit. Don't just say the textbook, for example. You need to give me the full reference and tell me what page number if you're using the textbook. Then when you reply to another student, and you only have to reply to one, should be at least 50 words. And in addition to, if you just want to say, yeah, I like how you did something, you've got to actually add some additional information that's new information beyond what that person said. So for example, let's look at this first one that you answer. This is a case study, and there are always case studies that tell you about particular individuals and certain incidents. And you will then answer questions pertaining to that particular case study. Okay. After you're done, like I said, you have to wait 30 minutes, go back, and you'll see other people's answers, and you'll need to reply to one other student in the class. Okay, and again, each modules will be very much the same. The learning objectives, the instructions, the PowerPoints, my presentation, laboratory contact, um, areas to submit the labs. Okay, same thing here as you can see in Module 2. Until you get to your first exam. And do not start the exam until you're ready for it, because once you start it, you only have so many minutes and you can't go in and out of the exam once you start. Okay, I know that was a very quick summary of what you're supposed to do and some of the activities. So obviously do feel free to contact me at any point if you have any questions about what you're supposed to do. And I wish you much success in the course. Okay, and good luck and study hard.